Yeah.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Dallas County Board of Commissioners voting session. Today's Thursday, November 18th, 2021. We appreciate those of you that are with us in attendance here, as well as those that are with us online. We'll start out with a roll call. And as you can see, all of us are here. Ask everyone to please stand for a brief invocation and pledge. You would bow your heads. Our dear gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this another day and for the many blessings of life. Give us knowledge and wisdom to carry out the business of this great community. Anything that's accomplished, we'll give you the honor and glory in Christ's name. We do ask and pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Are there any announcements? Any announcements? Yeah, the offices will be closed for Thanksgiving on Thursday and Friday. So just want to announce that. Any other announcements? All right, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. First up, we have the minutes of the work session held on November 4th, 2021. Any additions or deletions? Motions.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Dooley,
Second.
second by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that's approved 4-0. Next up, we have the minutes of the voting session held on November 4th, 2021. Any additions or deletions? Motions. Motion by Commissioner Fawcett.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And those are approved 4-0. Next up, we have the approval of the agenda. I do have a couple of changes to the agenda. Additions of number 11 and number 12 under new business. Request to release a request for proposal for operation and management of clamping sites at War Hill Park. You heard that earlier today by our park director, Matt Payne. And also request to apply for and accept a FY 2022 Emergency Management Performance Grant. You heard that from our Chief Thompson earlier today, and that will be a ratification because that's something that's already been done because of the time frame. And also removal of number 2 under new business, creation of a new traffic bureau division. And I presented you with a letter today that we got from Judge Goslin asking for that to be removed from the agenda. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda with those changes.
Make a motion that we approve the agenda with the changes that were just spelled out by Chairman Thurman.
Motion by Mr. Gaines,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And the agenda is approved 4-0 with those 3 changes. All right, we'll move on to public comment. No one signed up for public comment right here. All right, so we'll move it on down to public hearing. We have a public hearing in reference to resolution to adopt a greenway and trail master plan. Development Authority worked on that, and so you've seen that. Is there any questions before I open that up to a public hearing? All right. All right, this time, is there anyone here to speak to the resolution to adopt a greenway and trail master plan? Anyone? Anyone here wishing to speak in reference to a resolution to adopt a greenway and trail master plan? Seeing none, I'll close that hearing. What's the pleasure of the board on that resolution?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the trail master plan as presented.
Resolution.
Okay.
I have a motion to adopt that trail master plan resolution from Commissioner Gaines. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dooley. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that resolution is adopted 4-0. We'll move on into zoning. I'll go over the rules that we'll go by in reference to our zonings that we have tonight. First, the planning director will present the application and recommendation of the planning commission. Then we will hear from the applicant. Then we'll open the hearing. We'll hear from those who are in favor of the application, hear from those who are opposed to the application. Each person wishing to speak will be allotted 3 minutes per zoning guidelines. Anyone who speaks will need to sign in and give us your name and your address. Also, if anyone has donated $250 or more to any candidate, you will need to fill out a form stating so. So those are the guidelines by which we will operate under zoning. And first up, we have ZA 21-19, Tony Singleton request to rezone tax map parcel 094-053 from RSR residential sub-rule to RSR-MM residential sub-rule manufactured move. Ms. Sharon.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Singleton owns a little over 7 acres. He wishes to rezone it for a mobile home use. His current zoning doesn't allow mobile homes. They've been out there, have been 2 mobile homes on site for quite some time. With septic and water, he can get down to 1 acre. He will come back to us for a minor plat, minimum lot width of 175 feet. So the planning commission recommended approval to basically recognize the use of the property and change the zone.
Questions for Ms. Sharon? Thank you. Is the applicant present? Come on up and tell us what you would like to do.
Yeah, the property was given to me by my mom and my dad. And I have plans to give it to my daughter, not right now, but a little later on. And but we just want to put a mobile home down there for her to live in, affordable housing. You know, just like I tell everybody, you got to crawl before you walk.
Exactly.
And we're going to put it in there in a way that where if and when she can afford to build a home, the mobile home, she can live in it while the home's being built and then move it out, you know, when the new construction's done. So that's kind of the plans there.
Questions of the applicant? So there's 2 mobile homes there now, correct?
Yes, sir.
And there used to be 3 sometime back. And so
Yes.
this would just be basically back to where it used to be.
Absolutely.
Okay. Other questions of the applicant?
What's the occupancy of the other mobile homes? Are they're being occupied now?
They are.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you, sir. All right, this time I'll open this hearing. Anyone here to speak in favor of the application? Anyone here to speak in favor of the application? All right, anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Seeing none, I'll close that hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Can I ask him a question?
Yes.
Have you heard anything from your neighbors, Tony, objecting? Because I know you had several, but nobody said anything. Okay, all right, that's the question.
Okay. Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve ZA 2119 by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And ZA 2119 is approved 4-0. We'll go on to ZA 21-21, Jim King request to rezone tax map parcel 098-015, 098-016-001, and 098-016-002 from RA Residential Agriculture to RS3 Residential Suburban 3 for the purpose of developing a 379 lot subdivision, Highway 9 South, Goodson Road. And also has a variance 21-08. Jim King requests a variance to the Dawson County subdivision regulations, Article 10, Section 1003.d, minimum lot width reduction, tax map parcel 098-015, 098-016-001, and 098-016-002. And there has been a postponement of this requested by the applicant. Ms. Sharon. Anything you want to add to that?
Every time you call her name, I thought, oh, what am I supposed to do?
No, we have nothing to add. As our understanding, the applicant is working with the surrounding community and hopes to come back in the future.
Okay. All right, so the applicant is present. Mr. Jim, come on up, and I think you're here to ask for that postponed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jim King, 416 Overlook Circle, Dawsonville, Georgia. And I am here tonight to respectfully request that it be postponed until the December hearing. We did have just for the board's information, we sent out invitations and had a neighborhood meeting last night at Rock Creek Park. Rented a classroom over there. Have everybody together to try to find out what the concerns were and see how we can address it. And we are going back to the drawing board with the site plan and try to come up with something that reflects what we heard last night.
Okay,
So in order to do that, we'd like to have additional time to do it and postpone it till the December hearing.
okay.
And what date in December are you talking about?
I believe it's on the 21st, but I'm not
16th, I believe.
100% positive.
16th, I believe.
16th, okay.
All right, so if you grant that postponement, the public hearing will not be until then. Okay, so it's a pleasure of the board in reference to that postponement request.
I'll make a motion to approve the postpone request.
Motion by Commissioner Satterfield,
Second,
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And ZA 21-21 and VR 21-08 are postponed until the December meeting 4-0.
you
Thank
think
you.
you'll have it ready by then, Jim?
I believe so. I'm trying my best,
Okay,
but we're going to meet with the homeowners again after we get the plan prepared.
thank you. All right, we'll move on to unfinished business. Proposed FY 2022 budget that was tabled from November 4th voting session. Let me kind of go over with you again, some of the things that we've talked about in reference to some changes. And then I think Commissioner Gaines has a change request as well that he'll go over in a few minutes. But our original general fund budget that was proposed, that I proposed to you, was $32,176 or $32,176,013. And with the changes, it is now be a little bit more than that in just a few minutes. But at this particular moment, before we talk about what Commissioner Gaines would be $32,330,474. And some of the changes that we've talked about before was a proposed position change in planning that resulted in being a $5,074 reduction. Adding a senior plan reviewer, which was requested, and that's $88,898 increase. The tax commissioner had 3 line item request changes that totaled up to $683. One of them being getting on the county's contract for shredding, notary dues, and then supplies. And then with your vote, we approved the $175,000 upgrade in reference to IT and the security of that. So with that, there's a $58,725 increase for maintenance on that on an annual basis for that system. And then we found out that the public defender in the one leaving and one coming, that salary was not correct. So that's $11,229 increase for a net change of $154,461. And so those were the changes that we had talked about prior to. And I know Commissioner Gaines, you had asked me in reference to a couple of things, and you'd had some conversation with County Manager Headley. So if you want to go over that request that you have, we'll add that in.
Yep. So one of the things that we had originally presented was to peel out the county marshal's department and let it stand on its own. And one of the things I think that was originally discussed, this is somewhat inside and outside of budget, but was to require language that it be a mandated certified position. And so talking to County Manager Headley and a couple other, I think that we need to, in my opinion, need to look for the right person that fits that, even if they're not mandated. My understanding is that we can still have somebody that's good in that role to manage that without that as a requirement. If they are good, if we find somebody that really does really feels like it's going to fit that role better that's not certified than be my request not to have that as a requirement.
And mandated means,
Means the resting
Law
powers.
enforcement.
that's right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they still can do their job. If they run into an issue where there was a need for resting powers, then they would engage the sheriff's department to facilitate moving forward in that particular situation. As it relates to budget, number wise, it would be my suggestion that we remove the $40,000 vehicle. That's a line item that's associated with that. Talking again to County Manager Headley, feel like we can make something work. In the meantime, short period of time, and then we possibly could look towards Splash 7 to fund that because we have the flexibility and the language in that to be able to fund that vehicle. So it wouldn't be a demand on general funds for that. And so from the savings of the vehicle, I would like to suggest that we hire another building inspector, have a building inspector that would allow that department to continue to try to do the best they can to be the most efficient they can with inspections that they're tasked with. And so overall, if we take out the vehicle at 40,000, Chairman Thurman provided some additional numbers for me to consider and us to consider. And so for that position, a total, if they took full benefits, would be $66,781.90. So the difference would be $26,781.90 if we were to remove the vehicle and use that 40,000 towards that position. That also,
Does that give them 2 more employees or 3?
that department,
Yeah,
3.
3.
Three.
That's what I thought. Okay.
yeah,
You
that-
asked for, okay.
yeah, I mean, just we rely on our staff to do the
Mhm.
day in, day out, and none of us are micromanagers, so we rely on the input that's provided from staff. And I think that from what I see is the way the county is at and the growth that it's had, is there's a need for that over there. We want to be responsive, and that department is one of the few that, the busier they are, the more revenue they generate. So it's kind of a break even, and I think it's a good service to have for the community to work through that.
All right. So you hear that request, and that will be added to the budget. Any other requests before we move on?
Mr. Chairman,
Uh-huh.
reference to inspections. I know the fire marshal had sent all of us and sent the county manager, I think, a request. But, I mean, they do the same inspections as far as new inspections, plan reviews. But once that building's built, they also go back and do follow-ups and by their ISO, which gives us our tax break throughout the county. If we have a good rating, they have to do them twice a year. Right now, they have the fire marshal and basically one inspector, because they've got the young lady that's pub ed is supposed to be doing all the education and safety throughout the county. She's having to do inspections. So she was hired to do safety, teach classes and go to schools and civic groups and CPR and all that kind of stuff. So basically, they're running, you take the fire marshals, that department head in that division, they've only have one inspector for doing, and the building department has basically 3. So they're doing the same amount of inspections plus some, because they're still visiting those buildings. So I'd like to see if we could have one more fire inspector added to that group.
Do we have the dollar amount for that?
Yeah, what's the cost?
You have that?
I don't know with the benefits. Let me go back.
Vicky, do
Chief, you
have
might
a clue?
know, it's about
Okay.
42,000, 30 something thousand. What is it? The benefits?
Correct. The base salary for that position. And I don't have the salary and grade handy, so I apologize. Should be 42,348. Of course, there are some other additional costs. And that's a vehicle, the uniforms, a computer, an iPad because they're portable in the field, and then the office space and the furniture. And I have that itemized cost if the board so chooses to hear it.
Do you have any extra vehicles? I know you just got it.
I have one spare
Okay.
vehicle right now. So if it's the choosing of the board, we could use that vehicle
All right.
for the temporary.
Do you have that total dollar amount from when you presented that?
Yes, so the uniforms, Mr. Chairman, are 550. Their computer would be roughly 1,500. The iPad is roughly 600, and then another $800 for a desk, credenza, the filing cabinets, an office chair.
Do you have with the benefits though? You have that dollar amount?
I don't have that.
Okay. Okay, all right. Then we'll wait.
The only other question, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask is for I know we gave a lot of raises during the year and some of them started in March. And if we go another year before we look at any COLAs, we're gonna have some employees that's gonna be running 18 months, some of them 13 months, some of them close to a year. I'd like the board to see if we could revisit mid-year and look and see, because if we're not, we're gonna be back in the same situation we were in before we gave the raises as other surrounding counties and things are past us again. We
Yeah,
had
we-
to
we
we had to
can-
give those big raises to catch up, and I know you really worked hard with the budget and helped the other employees, but as far as COLAs, I think we need to revisit that.
We can
mid-year.
definitely look at that, anytime during the year y'all want to.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Because like I said, some of them's gonna be at well over a year before they get
yeah,
anything.
we can look at
else.
that at any point.
I think he's gonna use.
I think we're
one-
gonna use a spare.
With tricycle that we can. One other thing, Tim, did you have anything?
I mean,
While we're waiting on that, one thing that I was also looking at is the chairman had allocated 75,000 at the county manager's discretion for something that we haven't done in the past, and I think it's important. I've seen it be beneficial. I've seen it be negative as well. So I think implementation of it is critical, that the county manager would have the ability to pay increases for those that get additional certifications and different trainings, as well as those that perform well over and above.
And some that are not paid enough, they're
yeah.
like Elaine.
Yeah,
Some of them-
to have discretion to fill some of those gaps
Mhm.
where there's true needs and true issues. I think that it must be the way that this fails if it's not managed properly. So I think that we have to ensure, and county manager will ensure, that there's documentation and there's valid proof to actually have validity in paying an extra amount to any given employee. But the allocation originally was 75,000. I think to make a greater impact, I would like to see it move to 100.
Will we have any input in that, or will that be solely up to Dave, or,
That'll be up to the county manager.
so we can't give our opinion?
You can give him your opinion, but he'll make that
So
decision.
he can ignore it.
No.
He can make that. He'll talk to you. But the reason for him doing that is because he is the one that deals with these people every day. And we don't.
And I think that's something too, that, if we hit that, and if we do agree to do the $100,000 and we hit that and see that it's doing, it's beneficial, that something I wouldn't care to look at later on about even putting more
Yeah.
into that.
And I think we're working toward, we talked about this during the budget process in reference to that right there. And this is a starting point for that to see how it worked. But working towards, as we look further and further down the road as a merit type system, to where whatever kind of raise that we gave county employees would be based on that, based on their evaluation that they got, and David and I've had a lot of conversation about this in reference to that requires substantial amount of training to make sure these people are understanding that. So that's where we're trying to get to. This is a starting point to where we get to that point where you know, the people who actually manage these people every day make the decision on what kind of a pay raise they should get based on their merit and their thing, instead of us just arbitrarily saying, well, everybody gets 2%. Let's fix it to where we're creating an atmosphere of good, healthy work habits for all of our employees. And I'm 100% good with that additional $25,000. I have no issue with that as well.
I think as long as it's validated.
Yeah,
That's the
and that'll
key.
be,
This is not
that'll
a-
be,
This is not a, because you're my buddy, I'm paying you an extra $5,000.
Yeah.
There's places have gotten in trouble for that in the past. It has to be documented and validated.
and that'll be David's job to make sure that happens. Now, I think he's already been looking at that just in case it got approved. So he'll have a plan. Okay. Miss Vicky?
It's $71,250.
That's with benefits and everything.
All right, so Miss Vicky, can you add that to the general fund budget as well as the extra 25,000? And give me that new number for that and the total all budgets? Okay,
New general fund number.
yeah, she got that in there.
32,428,506.
Okay,
And total for all budgets is 57,281,168.
okay. Yeah, and she'd already added that in, gave that to me already that you and I talked about. So that's already in there. All right. So anything else before I entertain a motion on the FY 2022 budget?
Well, just point that you've brought up in the past and to tell staff is if you didn't get what you wanted out of this process, we have historically been taking those requests throughout the year as we try to be conservative fiscally and making sure that revenues are in line with what our estimations are, that we can review different things midstream. So
Yeah.
we're definitely open to that moving forward.
It's not written in stone
Nope.
and its needs come along.
Yeah,
Vicky, how much does that? How much coming out of fund balance now? Because it was
786,510.
that'll be the smallest number we've had in a long time.
From as small as we've taken it.
Yeah, and we've not used any of it over the terms that
haven't,
we have.
okay.
No. All right, so, all right. The general fund budget, as y'all well know, in the presentation that I presented to you, is just one of the many budgets that finance manages for us and that have to be approved. You have that whole long list in your documentation, and that's where that $57,281,168 number comes from.
Mhm.
And that's what, if you so desire, we need you to approve, is the overall total budget, which encompasses also the general fund. And so without any, if no more questions, I'll entertain a motion for the 2022 budget.
Those individual position creations or that?
It's in the budget. It's in the budget.
Could we go over all the positions we're adding?
We can.
Just let me find mine, because
I can kind of run them over for you here.
okay, I mean, I got where we started and now we,
County marshal position,
okay,
upgrade part-time custodian to full-time,
okay.
a general mechanic for fleet,
Mhm.
network
Network.
administrator for IT, IT technician for IT, senior judicial assistant for the juvenile court, permit technician, that was the change there.
Oh, so there's no front desk clerk.
No, it's permit technician now, and that was a request from our new planning director. Legal assistant for the public defender, and that was their number one
Mm-hmm,
request there.
mm-hmm.
Building inspector. Which is
Now what
we
about that
talked
pretrial
about.
officer?
Pretrial officer, yes.
Okay. okay.
Senior plan reviewer, which is something we talked about after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the
Fire.
fire inspector. So that will be the positions, correct, Miss Vicky? That's all of them?
That plus
And the salary correction for the public defender. Yeah. So
Would
those
you
are
repeat that again? What was that about?
the salary correction for the
Yeah,
public
for the
defender.
public defender.
It was noted in the, when the, I guess there was a change in that the previous one did not get the recommended salary that they were supposed to get during the last salary study. So
Oh,
we're
okay.
making that change to put that right.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
Okay. Right, so those are the positions. Like I say, the new overall all funds budget is 57,281,168. Pleasure of the board in reference to the 2022 budget proposal.
Well, I just make a motion that we approve it with all the changes,
Okay? And that's
as we
the-
just discussed.
And that's all of the budgets, right? All of
Yes,
the funds.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Okay. 57,281,168.
yes.
Motion
yes.
by Commissioner Fawcett.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion.
And just with the understanding that this, they can come with changes
Oh, yeah.
with this. Yes.
Always open to whatever staff needs to talk to us about.
Yes, yes, we just need this working document. Okay.
There you go. All right, so a motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote. And FY 2022 all fund budget is approved. Now then, Ms. Vicky and her staff can make sure everybody knows what they're getting. All right.
What's
So,
fun? Did I miss something? Oh.
Tired of pushing numbers.
Oh, okay.
Your finger's sore.
she's probably really tired of that. Let me get my stuff back together here so I know where I'm at.
I hear you.
I didn't lose something. Let's see. Here's what I need. All right, we'll move on to new business. First up, we have consideration of RFP 377-21 Construction Services Comprehensive Security System Upgrade for Dawson County. That presentation came to you a couple of weeks ago. That was we're upgrading of the security system, obviously, in the jail and as well as in the courthouse. And the recommendation was to accept the approve a contract to Southwestern Communications for the comprehensive security system upgrade project not to exceed $2,075,409.40 utilizing the capital funds in the amount of $1,405,500 previously approved and $669,909.40 from general fund balance to be reimbursed by Splosh 7 funds approved for the upgrade, because we do have some funding in Splosh 7 that would allow us to do that refund. Any other information needed in reference to that line item? Motion.
I make a motion that we approve this. Do I need to restate what you said?
You can just say has stated if you'd like.
As stated.
All right, so motion by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Dooley. Discussion.
Chairman, because I had some people ask me, so it's coming out of Splosh 6, general fund, then Splosh 7 to pay back the general fund.
Mhm.
Is that right?
That's how I get it.
Is that right? No,
Oh,
most
okay.
coming
That's what I
coming
thought.
out of capital fund,
Capital.
because it's already been approved for the capital fund, that we did that earlier, the amount that we approved earlier. And
Kept
then
on a
the
million
remainder will
four.
come out of the 669,909 will come out of Splosh 7 refund.
Okay.
Mhm,
Very
Yeah.
good.
mhm,
All right, gotcha.
mhm.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, please vote. And that's approved 4-0. Number 2, if you remember, was a change in the agenda, the consideration of the creation of new traffic bureau. That's been pulled. So we'll move on past number 2. Next up, we have consideration of request to upgrade part-time tax commissioner clerk position. to a full-time position. Nicole made that request and that'll would have been an addition of 33,000 and some change. I wrote that down somewhere. 33,223.26 would make that change. And so that would be although we just adopted the budget, that would mean a change to an amendment to the budget that we just adopted at some point later on. So that was her request to change that from part-time. And if you said, remember, she said that she had what, 7 people in that position? And,
4 in 7 years, or what was
Yeah,
it?
something, several people
7 in 4 years.
unable to maintain.
I thought that you needed this now. Are you talking about,
That's why she's doing it
She's
now.
gonna do
She's
it.
doing
She wanted to do it now,
well, that's what I
It'll be a
thought. But I
change
thought the
this
way
year.
you were, oh, okay. Okay. I thought
but it would add into next year's budget as
Approve
well.
it, it increases next year. budget.
It would add
Okay.
into next year as well.
Come on up here. Oh, I shouldn't.
You have any questions for her?
No, no, no. I just remember that you needed it now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's why I had to do it outside of budget and then.
Yeah, that was
Sorry.
that was my concern.
Sorry,
You know, I thought it was.
don't
Yeah.
have
being
enough
put to
numbers.
other.
No, I'm just saying it will affect next year's as well,
Okay.
going forward.
All right.
We can as part of the motion to add that to it. Yeah. All right, so pleasure of the board in reference to this item number 3,
What was that total amount again?
33,223.76.
I make a motion that we approve upgrading the part-time tax commissioner's position to a full-time position and further amend the 2022 budget to reflect an increase of $33,223.76.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Gaines,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote.
Can I ask a clarifying question real
Yes.
quick? Based on the way the motion was stated, I don't know that it was clear that that would apply for the remainder of this year. If it's only going to apply going into 2022.
I don't think I need that much for this year. 'Cause they're probably only gonna work.
Have you already got it in your budget?
No.
No.
Oh, well, yeah.
For part-time, she does.
We talked about it this morning. I think I do for the rest of the year. Yes.
Okay.
She does.
So- Okay, so I would proceed as stated.
Okay,
Mhm, so she good.
thank you.
Vote.
Any other? Please vote. And that is approved with the amendment. All right, next up, we have consideration of request to update tax commissioners' resolutions. This basically was putting Nicole's name on it, being she's responsible anyway. So she wants to get her name on there so they'll know who to talk to. Who to be mad at.
Or if there's
Okay.
trouble, they go
Sir.
to you.
Mr. Chairman, our office received and reviewed these proposed resolutions yesterday. And we would ask that the matter be tabled until the next meeting to give us an opportunity to communicate with the tax commissioner's office on some proposed language changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We need to make a motion,
Yeah, we'll have to.
Yeah.
Pleasure of the board. You've heard that request.
make a motion that we table till
Till the next
legal
meeting?
counsel approves it.
Okay.
Will that give y'all time to the next? Yes, until the
Okay.
next meeting. Yeah.
All right. So that'll be December 2nd. Motion to table by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Dooley. Discussion.
Just a process clarification. Been on the agenda, why is it just now getting to legal? How does that happen?
So she emailed me or called me Tuesday or Wednesday and asked if I'd emailed it because I emailed her for their email addresses. And I didn't send it. It was in the day that our email went down and I forgot. It was completely my fault. So I emailed it to her who sent it on. Kristen, not her. That sounded really rude. I'm sorry.
That one.
But who did this come from? Is this a state thing?
The resolutions?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
It's not,
so
I
we
mean, I
get,
would think it would already. I don't
there's
know.
a state handbook for us and they're written out in there. And then I will say 3 of the resolutions were resolutions that were already here. I just retyped those and added my name. So that may be some of the ones they want to look at. I'm not sure.
It's always good to have council look at stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what I get for assuming.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to table until December 2nd to give council time to have discussion with tax commissioner. Any other discussion? Hearing none, please vote. And that's table. All right. Let's see, next we go on to number 5. Consideration of request to apply for the Georgia Forestry Grant that was presented to you by Chief Thompson. I believe that was $10,000, and that's a 50-50 match, and he would have that money in his budget next year when he'd get this money anyway. So, motions.
Motion to approve the grant.
Motion by Commissioner Satterfield,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0. Move on to number 6, consideration of 2021 Dawson County surplus list. Shannon presented you that long list of stuff that we need to surplus. Any other information needed? Motions.
Motion to approve the surplus list.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Dooley,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. That's approved 4-0. Go forth and sell. The money that for those vehicles and stuff that comes out of that goes into our vehicle replacement fund, which I think currently we have about $75,000 in. All right, next up, number 7, consideration of rate adjustments for recreation programs. Matt presented that to you a couple of weeks ago, the rate increases, and he gave you a spreadsheet of comparison that went along with that to justify, and that was also approved by the Park and Recreation Board. Any other information needed? Motions.
Make motion to approve the rate adjustment.
Motion by Commissioner Satterfield,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And those rate adjustments are approved 4-0. Next up, consideration to move forward to a public hearing for proposed short-term rental / bed and breakfast establishment ordinance. You heard that from planning a couple of weeks ago. This would just move it to a public hearing if you so desire. Pleasure of the board.
Make a motion that we move forward to a public hearing.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote.
When will that be?
Do we have a date on that yet?
It'll be December 2nd, your next meeting.
December 2nd. Okay. All right, so that's approved to go to a public hearing on December the 2nd, 4-0. Next up, we have consideration of RFP number 394-21, delinquent debt collection for EMS billing. Melissa presented that to you. This would be a change in the company, and then I think it would be an increase in the percentage that we would actually get up to 16%. So any other information needed? Motions.
Make a motion, we approve.
Motion by Commissioner Gaines,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that's approved 4-0. Next up, we have the ratification of no reserve for parcels included on IFB number 399-21, sale of surplus real property owned by Dawson County Board of Commissioners. If you remember, this is the 3 little tiny pieces of property that the county had owned through tax sale. And so we had talked about reserve or no reserve, and the board's desire was no reserve so that we could sell these parcels. And so you will be ratifying that tonight if you so. So this will be a ratification.
We do still have the ability to.
And we
deny-
do have the ability to deny.
any
Yes,
Offers.
yes,
So somebody comes in with 50 cents, we can still deny.
we can do that. Yes, that's absolutely true. That is in the thing, in the IFB. Motions.
Make a motion to approve the ratification. IFB 39921.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Satterfield,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0. Next up, we'll go to number 11, request to release a request for proposal for operation and management of glamping sites at War Hill Park. You heard that at the 4 o'clock meeting. This would just be to allow them to release it for a request for proposal. Any other information needed? Motions.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Dooley. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0. Last, we have number 12, which is request to apply for and accept a FY 2022 Emergency Management Performance Grant. That kind of fell in between board meetings and had to be put into play. And so I think that's already been approved for us if we decide to take that. And that's 15,000. This is the same one we do every year. It's a 50-50 match, and that's been in the budget for as long as I can remember. And so pleasure of the board.
Make a motion that we apply for and accept the grant.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Dooley,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion.
It's one of them takes care of our sirens.
Yep, sirens and our system that calls people when there's a tornado.
Yep.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, please vote. And that's approved 4-0. No one signed up for public comment in this section.
Yes, sir.
And with that, we will be adjourned. Thank you for your attendance, both here with us and online. Yeah, real quick.